Hello, River family. Love you so much. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for hanging out with us. It's really an honor to be a part of this church and part of this fellowship, part of everyone who's involved here. And thanks for tuning in today. We're going to continue talking about what it means to walk in the resurrection power of Christ and why is that relevant to me today. Yeah. And so we talked a little bit about how that's an identity shift, a mindset shift, in that we are made new, brought back to original design, but in a new and different way because of Jesus. And that's why the resurrection is so powerful. It's not just a physical thing. It's not just getting us to heaven, but it's something that changes the way I live every day. Yeah. And so today I want to kind of shift that focus now into like outward. So what does it mean when I walk around truly as a son of Christ, truly transformed and made new when I relate to the world around me? Because there's a lot of stuff in the world, good and bad. And I think the biggest thing is that we are part of a family now, right? I'm a son of God, and being a son means walking with his vision, his way of seeing the world, but also his perspective on things. I think the most important thing to me, or at least what really stood out to me, is that my reactions to the world around me should come from the authority that I stand in.
So good. That's so good. If you think you're a slave, a really, really bad idea is to introduce other people to your master. Right? Like if I'm a slave walking around the world, I'm not like looking for people who I can, hey, you want to be a slave to this guy over here?
You also want to work
for
free?
Do you want to do this? Like that's not a really appealing offer that you're making to anyone. And there's a whole lot of other stuff that's going on in that situation. But if you're a son and you realize that there is more than enough room at your table for everyone else to be a son too, that's a whole different invitation. And so we just want to encourage you that what we're talking about is many Christians are going around introducing people to their master. Hey, these are the rules that you have to follow. These are the things that you have to do in order to be good enough to thrive in the kingdom of God. This is what it looks like to give up your life and take his. All of that there's an amount of truth in that, 100%. But way bigger and more important than that is everything that we do as a response to his love.
Yeah.
And he said, hey, go into the world and show people how much I love them.
And I think the biggest thing there is like that requires me to, when someone attacks me, when something crazy is happening that's really scary, right? That when there's people who are doing things that are very offensive, very anti-God, anti what I believe, right? That my job isn't to either protect myself, to attack those that are doing wrong, to convince the world that they're wrong, right? Like that was the law's job. Jesus came so that we can love. And walking in love, though, requires me to first actually know who I am.
That's so good.
Because like you said, if I'm a slave, it's like, yeah, come join the master. I mean, when you die, you go to a big party and that's great. But until then, you just got to follow all the rules. And it's like, that's not that appealing. Unless you convince someone that like, when I die, I'll do that. Or a lot of people are like, okay, when I'm older and about to die, then I'll get saved so I can go to heaven. That's not the mentality, and it changes completely if I really know who I am, so that when something really scary happens, my initial reaction isn't to partner with fear, but is instead like, okay, what do you want to do with this, God? What are we doing for? What can I pray for? What can I partner with? What is going on here? Because I know God is still here. And I know he has authority and he's given it to me. And so there's never a reaction of, oh no, what's going to happen? It's like, oh God, what's going to happen? Like, what are you doing, Dad? And I can't wait to involve other people in this family and in this authority, in this assurance, because of how it changes the way I live. Not because I feel the need to prove I love God by saving people, and not because, someone from a pulpit has convinced me that I have to be doing this or I'm a bad Christian, but because it's actually how I live. And being part of a family should be something that is natural, right? Like you don't study for years how to be a part of a family. You grow up as part of the family and you're kind of taught it by the environment. And so that's what we want to do here. And we are not going to do it perfect because we're human, but God does it perfectly and represents like this is what it means to walk in a family, walk in authority, and to have the power to connect with the spiritual. That's so good. Even in the physical.
That's so good. So think about this. You were saved for today, not someday. Your salvation isn't something that's going to happen. It's something that's already happened. Eternity starts now. So you have an opportunity even today, even right now, to walk in the fullness of who God created you to be.